23 years after the Oklahoma City bombing, which killed 168 Americans, a former FBI special agent breaks his silence.
He reveals the Arizona connection to the terror attack. Here's Team 12's Kevin Kennedy with a story you won't see anywhere else.
About a third of the building has been blown away.
Sounded like just one big boom.
We are a block from where the blast occurred.
The FBI will pursue every lead.
It took less than 2 hours before Timothy McVeigh was captured, pulled over by an Oklahoma State trooper.
He was stopped on a highway with a license plate that had fallen off.
The FBI had its man.
Am I pure evil? Am I the face of terror?
But he did not act alone. Within 48 hours, connections were made between McVeigh and an address in Kingman, Arizona.
We identified Michael and Lori Fortier.
McVeigh and Fortier served in the Army together. In fact, McVeigh was living with Fortier a few months before the bombing.
We sent SWAT team up there. We sent a bunch of investigators initially.
Kenneth Williams worked 30 years with the FBI. He was the special agent in charge of the Fortier investigation.
We had several hundred agents up there.
The FBI interviewed Fortier multiple times, more than a dozen hours, but his story remained the same.
I can't believe that he was going to do this. I had no knowledge that he was going to do that.
Top officials with the FBI believe Fortier, but Williams wasn't buying it.
You get a gut feeling sometimes.
Slowly but surely, he was finding holes in Fortier's story.
Michael Fortier was lying to his co-workers.
Search warrants of Fortier's trailer provided more evidence. More than 100 detonators were discovered by the home.
They would blow things up out in the Arizona desert.
The evidence was mounting. Williams interviewed Fortier again, this time showing him pictures of the victims. Many were kids.
He pushed away from the table and he said, "What about all the kids you guys killed in Waco, Texas?"
That is when Williams knew Fortier was involved in the bombing. But to what extent? Another picture would be the final piece of the puzzle. It was Michael's wife, Lori.
This was a picture where she was semi-naked.
Taken on a day Michael was at the Prescott VA hospital by none other than Timothy McVeigh.
His question to me was, "What kind of deal can you give me? I will give you everything."
Fortier may not have been in Oklahoma at the time of the bombing, but he and his wife likely knew what would happen.
I think, yes, he is just as responsible for the deaths of those people.
The federal government saw it differently. Given a plea deal, Fortier was sentenced to just 12 years. His wife granted immunity.
At the end of the day, I think he got probably one of the biggest deals I've ever seen in my professional career.
Kenneth Williams still has nightmares about the bombing, the worst domestic terrorist attack in our history.
As we're speaking, I'm getting goosebumps right now. It brings a tear to my eye every time I think of that.
Timothy McVeigh is widely known as the Oklahoma City bomber, but many forget the attack was planned and practiced in Kingman, Arizona, with the help of his old Army pal, Michael Fortier. Kevin Kennedy, 12 News.